Daniel, thanks for joining us in the build up to the National Franchise Exhibition. Tell us a bit more about Anytime Fitness.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to. So, Anytime Fitness, I guess we're the biggest fitness franchise in the world. So we've got 5,500 clubs worldwide. Started in 2002 over in America. We've now got just over 2,500 clubs in America. We've been operating out of the UK, so I work for the UK Master Franchise. Been operating out of the UK since 2012. We've got just over 180 sites in the UK. We operate out of about 40 different countries across the globe, and believe it or not, we operate on all continents of the world. We've actually got a station in the Arctic on a permanent cruise ship out there, so we can say we operate out of all continents in the world. So yeah, big franchise, lots of support mechanisms, and we kind of pull on some of our counterparts in Australia and America that are sort of slightly more advanced than us, and operate in more clubs. So we network with those a lot, and likewise we support some of the more or the newer countries that are sort of growing. So yeah, big organisation with 5,500 sites worldwide.
Amazing. And so obviously been in franchising for a long time. What's your favourite thing about franchising?
That's a great question. I think to answer it from a personal point of view, really, and I think probably everybody would probably give a slightly different answer, but certainly from my point of view, my background is leisure rather than franchising. So worked for quite a few of the bigger sort of leisure organisations. I've always been in the fitness industry, and I think the biggest thing that I love about franchising is you get to build good, strong relationships with individuals and decision makers. I think when you're in the corporate world or the public sector, you're almost kind of you're given a template to go and follow, and a box to deliver. Whereas here you get to design that box, influence that box, and you kind of see the rewards. And yeah, there's nothing kind of more rewarding than getting the first one right, and the franchisee going on to do number 2, 3, and 4. It's exciting, and I think we're very much about kind of community and relationships within Anytime Fitness, and that's something that I really enjoy. Very different to roles that I've done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, so clearly very passionate about franchising, and obviously lots of people come into the show to find out more about franchising and consider it for their future. What would you say are the top benefits of franchising for someone looking to enter the sector?
It's a good question, and it's actually something. So I've got a few things that I think on this, and I try and put a franchisee's kind of hat on for this one, and it's I think one of the things that I kind of hear over and over again as we're going through kind of Q&As with prospective franchisees is it's a tried and tested model, especially if you're coming into something a more established franchise like Anytime Fitness, where we've kind of we've been around the block, we've made those mistakes. It's not you're not starting from scratch, so I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. I think the infrastructure around you is another thing, training. So kind of that support mechanism, I think they really help. I think it's a proven business model. I think if you were in our case, if you were going to start up a gym, there's lots of things, lots of different nuances that you've got to think about. Whereas this is tried and tested. It's done. We've made the mistakes. We've learned from those mistakes. We can help deliver and train. And I think the other thing as well is from a financial point of view, if you're looking at it from that side, is the economies of scales. We obviously have, good negotiated deals with many different suppliers, as will other franchises, where you're benefiting from the mass scale and the volume that we're able to buy at. So I think they're probably kind of the two biggest ones, but certainly from a franchisee point of view, what we hear is that kind of that support mechanism, the training, the coaching, and the kind of the networking with other franchisees and staff that have been there and done it, I think really helps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And obviously investing in a franchise is a massive decision, probably one of the biggest decisions someone's going to make in their life. What should someone looking to invest in the franchise be kind of asking themselves and looking at?
Yeah, so I think it's another great question. I think how I sort of looked at this is I think I try and kind of pull out some of the questions that we get asked on a regular basis, I think, and some of the things that we, I guess, kind of steer franchisees towards to kind of think about as they're doing that due diligence. I think, it's very, very often that franchisees or prospective franchisees are looking at multiple different businesses and not necessarily all in the same sector. You know, they could be comparing a kind of fast food against a gym, against a coffee shop, or so there's, but I think in principle you're kind of always looking at the same thing. It's I think it's the support mechanism, the ROI. That's obviously important. So is it realistic? What's being displayed to you? Is it achievable? Do you have the capital required to do that? I think the support mechanism and the training, I think that's really key. You're buying into a support structure. So what are their processes there? How do they deliver those? How much touch time do you get with the relevant staff members and suppliers? And I think one of the other things, and two kind of key ones that often potentially get forgotten, I think funding options is a huge one. The funding kind of world is very, very different. Kind of, coming out of COVID, it was a lot easier to gain funding. It's a lot more expensive to gain funding now. So I think looking at what funding partners and options that the particular franchisor have available, I think is a big one. And we get asked more and more. Our banks and brokers have become part of our sales process now. A lot of our prospective franchisees are speaking to our funding partners before they buy into the network to kind of gain that reinsurance. And I think one other one which is often missed, but something that we really try to speak to our prospective franchisees about, is your growth path and your exit strategy. And I think it's a bit of a strange topic when you're talking to someone about coming into a network of what's your exit strategy, but it's really, really important, because actually we will take you on a different journey. If you're coming into open one Anytime Fitness and kind of sit on it and let it tick over in the background, and just have one site, is a very different journey to what we'll take you on is if you're looking to do 5, 6, 10 sites. And understanding what your strategy is. So if it's to build up to 5 and then sell as a group, again, a very different conversation, and different conversations with your funding partners. So I think that's really keen to kind of understand why you're getting into the franchise in the first place. Is it long term? Is it short term? Is it multiple? Is it one? And I think that'll give you a really good steer on some of the answers, and the feedback that you get back from the franchisor will give you a really good steer if they're the right partner for you, because franchising ultimately is a partnership. It's we learn and develop off our franchisees, and they learn and develop off of us and our structures. So it's definitely a partnership. I think that's key.
And for anyone watching this that might be considering coming along to the National Franchise Exhibition at the NEC, what do you think that visitors can gain from the exhibition? What are some of the tips you'd give them to get the most out of the day as well?
Yeah, it's I think they're amazing from a franchisor's point of view and a franchisee's point of view. I think they're great to have face-to-face time. I think it's really, really key. It's very easy now to do things kind of online and not have those touch points, those regular kind of face-to-face time that we used to have sort of pre-COVID. So I think from a franchisor and a franchisee's point of view, it's great to have that face-to-face time. I think everybody being under one roof, there's a lot of franchisees that are kind of going to browse, if you like, and it allows you to sort of look at all of those different options that are out there. And there's some amazing different franchise models out there, and it a lot of the time it allows you to start those conversations, and then you'll go through that process over a period of time afterwards. But I think it's I think it's great. I can give two great examples off the Kensington show, where two very, very different examples. Both have ended up joining Anytime Fitness, and one we'd already started conversations with a franchisee, and we'd had a few sort of phone calls, and we'd started to do a bit of a sort of deeper dive into Anytime Fitness, and came and met us at the site. But we had 5 or 6 of the team there, so came and met us, and it gave him enough comfort that we'd got enough expertise there. He met a lot of the team, and then ended up subsequently joining pretty quickly afterwards. But our other success from the Kensington show was that franchisee who has got experience in franchising, wanted to grow his portfolio, but hadn't done any due diligence on Anytime Fitness whatsoever. Saw the brand there. We started to have conversations, spent an hour with the team, and started to educate, and then's gone on and is now joined the network over the last sort of couple of weeks, and gone through full due diligence with the brand and is on the path to open their first site. So I think you don't necessarily need to have a kind of preconceived concept of necessarily what you want. It's about having those conversations and I guess understanding their support processes and the structure and the team and what you're going to get for what you're buying into. And I think they're great opportunities to do that and just have some real good quality face-to-face time with team members that ultimately you're going to be working with over a longer period of time.
Brilliant. And you're going to be at the show, Daniel?
We are, yeah. Can't wait. We've got quite a good presence at the next show. We had some great successes at the last one. I think a few bits that we sort of slightly tweaked. We brought a couple of franchisees along with us for the first time at the last show, so we're going to do the same. We're going to do the same in October, and I think it's great for prospective franchisors. It's fine speaking to us as Anytime Fitness, but it's great to speak to a franchisee who's been sat on the other side of the fence. And we've also got one of our suppliers, one of our partners, Savills, coming along with us as well. So we've got a couple of talks which we're looking forward to. So we're excited. We've got a big team coming up, and hopefully it'll be as successful as the last one.
Brilliant. Daniel, thanks so much for your time, and look forward to seeing you at the show.
Welcome. Thank you.